Hello, 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 hello. I hope that you're doing absolutely amazing. In this video, we're going to speak about the 7 Hermetic principles as they are in the Kybalion. So this is the Kybalion. I don't know how to put it in the... I know it's going to be in reverse because I don't know how to turn it around properly, the video. But I want to speak to you about the 7 Hermetic principles. And, you know, I remember my own experience with first reading the Kybalion many years ago. I thought to myself, what absolute rubbish is this? Because the Kybalion, it is one of those things that can fly completely over your head. In actual fact, in the Kybalion itself, it says, the lips of wisdom are closed, except for the ones of understanding. So clearly, I was not of understanding at the time. And even though I am a very profound understanding of the moment, I think the incredible thing about the Kybalion is one of those things that just when you get it, it expands your consciousness and you get more. That is what's so beautiful about it. And it speaks about the laws of the universe and the laws that govern us and the laws that help us to be able to live a beautiful experience of life. So welcome to this video. My name is Adrian Nelson. I'm a spiritual wellness coach. And I'm very excited, very excited by the 7 Hermetic principles. I've always been, and I've come to experience from personal experience in these last couple of years, especially, that when I live my life in accordance with these laws, that things get better for me, and I have especially doubled down on that, I would say, in about the last year and a half. I would really double down on it. And initially I wanted to teach all of this, but I realized very quickly that this information can either fly right over your head, or alternatively you can get it and not be ready for it, and your mind can sort of combust. You go like, what? No, oh goodness, So what I've actually created, which was really beautiful, and I've used it with this Oracle card deck, the Dreamweaver's Oracle. I've created a beautiful course in preparation to teaching this really powerful fundamental principles of, the Kybalion, the 7 Hermetic principles. And I have created a psychic development oracle card reading course, which it's so exceptional. I love it so much. I directly channeled it from source. I remember when it first came about, I was so nervous about doing it because I was saying to source, like, creator, I've never seen anybody teach like this, and can I do it and will it work? But it worked so beautifully. I first did it with a group of people, and it's now an online course on Udemy, along with some of my other beautiful courses, which are all about spiritual development and personal development, just being the best of who you are. And if you're interested, you can take a look down below in the description. There's links for all my courses. But to bring us back to the Kybalion, so there are thousands of laws in the universe. And some of you may know that I'm also a ThetaHealing practitioner, which is amazing. It is so incredible. And so in this teaching, what I'm doing is I am bringing some of, actually kind of like I'm drawing from all of my experiences, as a Reiki master, as a ThetaHealing practitioner, as somebody who's well versed in the Kybalion, as somebody who's well versed in sort of Kabbalah, which I really love as well. Obviously, it goes hand in hand with tarot and sacred geometry and astrology and all those amazing things, numerology, Reiki, crystal healing, all of it, hypnotherapy together, NLP in one. And I like to, when I find something amazing that works for me, I like to share it. But I did realize that I needed to sort of first create a beautiful foundation for you to be able to take this coaching. Now, it obviously depends on where you are in your development in life, but it's beautiful, this course that I created, this psychic development oracle card reading course. And I designed it to be Monday to Friday, and to run over 11 weeks, and it's like 20 minutes a day, to just help you to get some concepts, and it's just beautiful. So that is a perfect preparation for this course, you know. And even if you take this course and you're like, oh my goodness, it's too much, then park that and start with, you know, with this beautiful coaching. Then it can only benefit you. But, you know, the Hermetic philosophy, it's sort of like, it sort of dates back all the way to sort of like ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. And in ancient Egypt, there was Thought, the god of wisdom. And so the Greeks sort of more took on the more sort of like that approach of thought, but then, you know, sort of made it their own. And they kind of called the knowledge like, you know, the Hermes, sort of like the thrice great. So from there, actually, the name Hermes Trismegistus, which is like the thrice great. And there is amazing things that goes along with Hermes, you know, the so-called body itself, you know. They believe that Hermes has incarnated several times, lived for thousands of years, shared his knowledge directly with Abram, for example, who's quite a prominent figure when we look, you know, back in the days of our history. And even the most ancient of sort of like Indian teachings as well, they all have their roots in Hermetics, you know. And I think a lot of times we believe that the ancient knowledge always comes from the ancient Egyptians. It's just that the ancient Egyptians like to write things down, you know. All these sort of people before them, they weren't so interested in writing things down. And, sorry, interesting going along with that, you know, Hermes Trismegistus is seen as the, you know, sort of the father of occult wisdom. And of course, through the years, the occult has got many, many bad reputations, because there's obviously those that can really capitalize from, you know, making people believe that having ancient wisdom and knowledge is bad, because then you can control them, you know. And Hermes was also known to be the founder of astrology, the discoverer of astronomy, you know, which is obviously things like mathematics, and we look into things like Pythagoras and all those type of things. Now, I don't want you to, for all of this, to scare you off, because I believe in simplifying things in life. And I've got quite a passion for any of you that may have taken some coaching from, you know, I've got quite a passion for taking very complex sort of terminologies and simplifying it for you so that you can understand it. And that is why from the time that I did that first course, that Psychic Development Oracle Card Reading course, it is now nearly a year later, I think like 11 months, 10 and a half, 11 months later, before I kind of go into this Kybalion coaching as well. Because, you know, not only do I need you to be ready, but I need to be ready as well. It's very, very important, you know. So I'm quite excited, and I understand that the time is right, and, you know, Source has communicated to me that the time is right now. So to give you a couple of ideas around Hermetics and how it works, and then also to give you an idea of how this coaching will work. So one of the things that you can do for yourself now already, if you decide to take the coaching, is to get yourself a copy of the Kybalion. Now, it's very interesting when it comes to the Kybalion. You know, you get many sort of ancient wisdoms, and everybody just talks about it, and it's out there and everything. The Kybalion, funny enough, it's that sort of ancient knowledge, and I speak in the coaching a lot more about this and the reasons behind it, that, you know, the ancient Hermetics, they not, even modern day Hermetics and people that study things like Kabbalah and things like that, they're not just going to come and throw the knowledge in your face. They will keep it sacred until you are ready for it, and when you are ready, it will come into your life. And it's the same thing with the Kybalion. And it's interesting with the Kybalion, because even though this book is, you know, available these days, sort of like on certain online outlets and stuff like that, where it might still be a bit scarce sometimes, the Kybalion is a book that comes to you when you are ready. It is knowledge that comes to you when you are ready, when you are aligned with it. And these days it's a little bit more easy to find the book, but it used to be quite hard, you know. And there was also that belief that, same as a lot of times with tarot, that in order to really be called to it, somebody has to give it to you. But of course, we live in different times, okay? And so out of all the different laws of the universe, the 7 Hermetic principles looks at the ones that pertain specifically to your success of being a soul, having a human being experience on planet Earth, you know. And the 7 principles that we look at, and when we live these principles, I speak from personal experience, your life just gets so much better, so much easier. You've got so much more peace, so much calm. It's like the ancient wisdom reveals itself to you in many different forms. And it's always just sort of like synchronistically perfect. All right? So the 7 Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. Now, when you start off looking at Hermetics, we first start looking at the idea that we exist as a thought within the mind of the all. And the all you can call God, you can call source, you can call creator, but when you think about it, whenever you sort of like term something, you sort of limit it because you kind of put it in a box. So we start off by explaining to you that the all cannot really fully conceptually be understood and grasped within our existence as human beings. So you can really get it, but whilst we are in this third sort of plane dimension where we are, we can't fully grasp it. But, you know, studying it can really open ourselves in a very, very beautiful way. So you can get it, as I explained in the beginning, you get it, but you keep on getting it more and more and more. It's almost like tarot. Now, for some of you may know that I've been a tarot reader for more than 20 years now, and, you know, I read tarot and I teach tarot and I give personal readings and all those amazing things, and I've got some beautiful courses on Udemy when it comes to the tarot. From basic to advanced is just amazing because it kind of goes into the Kaballistic Tree of Life, which is a very, very complicated concept to understand, but as I say, you know, I like to simplify things, you know. And so it's the same thing with Hermetics, and especially because, you know, as I said, when I first read the Kybalion a couple of years ago, I was like, this is such an amount of rubbish. Because I didn't get it until I got it. And then you read it again, and you get it again, and you read it again, and you get it again. And, you know, you apply the principles, and, you know, you learn some other things, and you get it again more and more and more. Okay? So these 7 principles, when you follow them, trust me when I tell you, your life gets better. Okay? And so we've got this idea that all exists within the mind of the all. Now, I break this down a lot more in coaching. Okay? But it kind of comes from the idea that all of what we live and experience is a thought, is a dream within the mind of the all. And if you think about it in your mind, you've got multiple thoughts and multiple dreams and multiple sort of like realities and ideas going on. Same with the all. So there might be multiple dimensions out there that is similar and sort of different to what we have, because in the mind of the all, there's obviously many thoughts and many ideas. And so what I'm going to do is, and I'll do this in the coaching more, but I will read for you just a little bit, just a very, very little bit on these different principles. But before I do, so if you take this coaching, what I do is I bring all the beautiful expertise that I currently have to the table. So it will run over, it's 7 principles, but I actually run over 8 weeks because, as I love to do, at the end I will give you some additional coaching on how to really draw this into your life, how to implement into your life, how to apply these principles, how to keep it simple, how to keep it, you know, beneficial to your benefit, you know, so that you can have the daily advantages that comes with it. And then, so I'll break that down in a lesson. Sorry. There is a guided meditation, which is very in line with the ThetaHealing practice that I do. And Theta, you work with a beautiful mindset. It's that deeper mind. It's what all your belief levels. So there's beautiful guided sessions that go along with this. The idea is that you take the lesson, watch the lesson, take some notes, do the daily guided session every day, and then there's also journaling work for you to do through the week, because as simple as these concepts are, they are really vast and they can really challenge your belief system sometimes, you know. So it's one of those things that easy does it. You know, if you go into this, you're not just looking for another quick fix. You're not just looking for another way to just quickly find something, boom, 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 you know, whistle and bell, something fantastic in life. No. This is where you're really looking for the real purpose, that core value, that vision, that mission, that fulfillment, in life. This is when you know that you're ready for this coaching. Okay? And it's a real practice. Remember that in ancient times, people who studied these things for years. It's the same with Reiki. We have this, something that really irks me. You have this very fly-by-night sort of weekend courses in Reiki these days. Whereas in ancient times, I mean, just to even get to something like Reiki level 1, which is in 3 levels, plus there's an additional level within the 3 levels, which is advanced Reiki coaching, which is really about, deep introspection to discover yourself, to benefit from that. So this is very much what this coaching is about as well. So I want you to really be serious about it if you take it, okay? Because knowledge is a very powerful thing. This is one of those Pandora boxes, and this is not meant to scare you. This is meant to motivate and inspire you and get you on the straight and narrow. This is one of those things, if you take it, your life will never be the same again, in the best of ways, unless you are taking it with the wrong intentions. But then even that, you will get the understanding how to turn that around to your benefit, which is beautiful. All right? So there will be a lesson, there is a guided session, and there's some journaling work. And then every week there is a recap again. And I bring all sorts of ideas in here: soulmates, soul family, twin flames, abundance, how to manifest, how to use the law of attraction, all of those sort of things, because they all fall within these principles. So you can almost think of the principles as the bigger things and like the different laws falling underneath them, because there's thousands of these laws. But you follow these 7 principles, everything is so beautiful, ooh la la. And of course, even with the number 7, 7 is a number that as you look into practically any religion, any dogmatic practice, any traditional practice, any spiritual practice, any sort of ancient wellness practice, any ancient wisdom, the number 7 is very prevalently there. Okay? Because when you're in alignment with the 7 energy, that is what takes you and places you and keeps you into that number 8 infinity flow energy. So this is really essentially a formula for you to live a beautiful, fulfilling life. All right. So the first principle, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. Okay. I'm going to read for you just a little bit. All right. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent in our material senses is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undeniable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite, living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all. It's quite a vast concept when you first come about it, And it's also, it explains that that when we look into these principles, we're really looking at getting the master key to sort of unlock the temple of mystery, so that life is no longer a mystery to you. I want to reiterate again, this is a coaching to not be taken lightly. Doesn't mean that you have to be all serious about it, and a little bit stuck up about it, but it is sacred. It is really sacred because it is about life, it's about the universe. And we live in a world where everything is so watered down that it's actually sort of sad. And going back to Reiki, I remember a couple of years ago, I was at this beautiful holistic fair. And because Reiki is about working with the energy of life, which is pretty much what the Kybalion is about. It's about creating a deeper understanding of that energy of life and how to use it to your benefit and not to your detriment. Because again, if in ancient times you took Reiki practice, these are things that you would have had to understand. So even if you are doing practices and you're struggling with it and you're at arms with it, this is the kind of coaching that can be perfect for you, or you've been looking for something deeper. If you're looking at this, then you've been looking for something deeper. You've been looking for some understanding. And if it's your first time here, I'd like to welcome you. And if you're coming back, welcome back. If you haven't yet done so, please go ahead and subscribe. I will appreciate it. Like the video, share the video, comment. Let me know where in the world we are connecting from. And if you are ready for this beautiful knowledge, write in the comments, I am ready. Place your hands on your heart, take a nice deep breath. Say yes to it and write, I'm ready. Writing things down is powerful. All right? So this is about unlocking the keys and the mysteries. Okay? The second principle is the principle of correspondence, which is as above, so below, and as below, so above. So it speaks about the microcosm and the macrocosm, that in the macrocosm, all that we are experiencing on a larger scale is within the mind of the all. And on the microcosm, we are experiencing it, okay? Reflecting each other, basically, and also impacting each other, okay? It was quite a big term for me when I first came across the idea. And a very good friend of mine who was also practicing Wicca or witchcraft, not 100% the same, but this is not what this video is about. And he said to me that, you know, in the same way that the planets have an impact on how we experience life, what we do here impacts the planets. I was like, wow, you know. So just to very quickly loop back to my Reiki story. So this person was saying to me that Reiki is dead. You know, it's lost its energy. And so I was asking this person, why do you say that? And he's like, you know what, I've been trying it and blah, blah. And I said to this person, what you are talking about is not Reiki. There is a grossly watered down version of Reiki. It is not Reiki. You know, it's not. It really isn't. Okay? So the principle of correspondence. This principle embodies the truth that there is always correspondence between the laws and the phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words, as above, so below, as above, as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one means of solving many a dark paradox, the hidden secret of nature. So this is sort of like where we get stuck. So it's also, and this coaching centers quite a lot about accepting responsibility for your life without making yourself or anybody else wrong. Because a lot of the things that we're experiencing is just genetic, you know. A big concept to sometimes get is that a lot of times we say that I'm living a certain experience of life because of the trauma, the hurt, you know, the experiences, the neglect that I experienced in childhood. And whilst that is very valid, 99.9%, you know, of the times, the reason why we have that experience is actually because of our pathology, because of our, you know, the truth within our genes, within our genetics. You know, what we call epigenetics. The practice or the study of epigenetics is that, remember, we are born with all the beliefs of all of our ancestors, not just our parents, the whole genetic line. Yeah? So when we kind of begin to get it and we can work through that, we can set ourselves free from these seemingly invisible dark forces that are always holding us down and making your life not be successful. Okay? Very powerful. Sorry. Oh, my goodness, I'm sorry. I've been a little bit fluish. The principle of vibration. So it says that nothing rests, that's the third principle. Everything vibrates. Everything moves. Nothing is ever still in this universe. This universe is very busy. You know, and it kind of also falls in with that, you know, that saying that nothing can be created, energy can't be created, it can't be destroyed, it can only be changed. All right? This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates. Nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet, here's the thing, and yet the Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. These people knew things that we didn't know. And once you start opening your mind to that, again, it goes back to the lips of wisdom are closed, except to those of understanding. Once you get it, but sometimes it's difficult to get. And that is why, you know, it can be challenging even once you get it to accept it. That is why I'm, you know, creating this coaching, because it helps you with not just seeing the truth, realizing the truth, but also to be able to accept the truth, embrace the truth, and benefit from the truth, you know? Or the laws, however you want to call it. Then principle number 4 is the principle of polarity, is that everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degrees. Extremes meet. All truths are half-truths. All paradoxes are reconciled. So if you kind of want to really simplify that, it's when you think about it, when two people are at a point, let's say this is planet Earth, and two people are at a point here in planet Earth. This one says, you know what, I'm going this way, and that one says I go that way. Eventually you're going to meet each other at a point. Everything is sort of the same. It's just, it seems different. And when we really get this law of polar opposite, it is such a life-changing concept that I'm not even going to start to explain it here, because then this video is going to go on for a while. Everything is like building blocks on top of each other. But when we begin to understand that sort of like heat and cold are polar opposites of the same thing, because where does, cold stop and where does heat start, sort of thing? Where does nice end and where does good begin? You know what I mean? When you think of yes and no, in between there are trillions of possibilities, and they are all right, and they all have their own sort of subdivisions and stuff like that. So when you really begin to see that everything is part of the same thing, it changes everything. But it's so amazing is that, as the walls of our perceived reality begins to break down, our world begins to make more sense. And you begin to make more sense in it. So this is also really great coaching if you maybe feel sort of lost in the world and things like that. And it even speaks about, when you, for example, look at things like everything is in motion, everything is always moving. So when it moves really, really fast, is when you look at a wheel, when it begins to move really fast, you don't see the movement anymore. You just see a blur. So it appears to be still and at rest, but it's moving so fast. Whereas when you look at a more solid, dense, physical vibration like a crystal or a rock, it has slowed down its movement so much that it seems to be still and at peace, but it's moving. Which brings us to the 5th principle, which is the principle of rhythm. And it says that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So the idea behind really, understanding these principles, and this is quite a big one, because when we look a lot at things like manifestation and those sort of things, first of all, you manifest nothing. Everything exists. It already is. Time is something we use to go linearly from this thing to that thing to that thing. But everything simply is. So when you look at your present, your past, your future, it all is. And that is why when we look at something that I'm very passionate about and that I've probably helped thousands of people with through the years, is when you look at past life regression. And now that I sort of like, team up past life regression with NLP and a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming, neuro-linguistic programming and a little bit of cognitive behavioral coaching that I've had, and I look at all my wonderful understanding of epigenetics and ThetaHealing, you bring it all together. It's a powerful session. But you really get to see how, okay, so if you imagine this is the present, this is the past, and this is the future. But if everything exists all at once, yes, you can say something in the present, but when you change the past, you also directly change the future, which is now the present. You change the present, you change the future, because it's all the same story. It's like if this is a glass of water and I put some red food coloring in there, it affects the whole glass of water, So with the principle of rhythm, it is really looking to see how, we can make certain changes within ourselves that affect life overall. So the idea with Hermetics is that, they apply the mental law of neutralization. So what that means is that, we don't try to change the world. We understand that the world, the universe, Gaia, all of it is doing its own thing. I mean, as we speak at the moment, Gaia has come to the conclusion of a 26,000-year cycle. Do you really think that Gaia is going to pause that just for you? But based on where you are vibrationally determines how you experience life. So life is still going to swing from left and right, the pendulum, But it is about, so life goes up and down, good and bad. So you will notice in life, even when you do nothing, things will get better, things will get bad. It will flow in and out. It's like a breath, in and out. It's like a heartbeat. It expands, it contracts. All right? Everything is about polarity. Everything is about rhythm. Everything is about flow. Everything is consistently in motion. Okay? We may call it everything recreating itself over and over, but in the bigger sphere of things, everything is just happening. We have, for example, death and birth. Death is the beginning, birth is the end. But when you, for example, look at it from a different perspective, from a broader perspective, the baby leaving the womb, for example, is, technically dying of that dimension, that existence, that allness to go into a broader consciousness. Same as when we pass. It is one continual flow. It is like infinity. And so with the Kybalion, you are really learning how to not just benefit from infinity and be with infinity, but to be infinity itself, to understand your oneness and part with it all, the no separation. You know what I mean? And if you don't, you might want to take the coaching, And so what it's really about is about living this life where you say, okay, that is happening, and knowing how to direct your attention, when to, to be very present and when to draw back. So that, yes, the lower flow of the pendulum is still going to happen, but it doesn't have to drag you down with it. Because that is the beautiful thing that we have as human beings. We've got free will. So when we can understand how to practice our free will without going against the grain of all that is how we can really benefit life. And then we can do what we call manifest the life that we'd like to manifest, and we can maintain that. Okay, so that is really the purpose behind this coaching. All right? The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Again, it's polarity. Okay? These laws are really, I would almost go so far as to say it's all one law. It's the law of all. Yeah? All falls in with the law of mentalism. So one builds on the other. Yeah? It's like a baby that learns to walk. It goes in stages. You can't, yes, you may be born with the potential and the life plan and like to maybe one day be an Olympic runner, or, whatever the case may be, run around the block for your own personal, soul satisfaction. But you're going to have to learn to crawl and walk and those things first. Yeah? Same thing with the Hermetics. And it's simpler, like the way that I teach it, it simplifies it like that. Because these are challenging concepts to sort of just grasp when you just read the book. And you know what's amazing about this? Even when we grasp the concept, when we take the coaching from someone else's point of view, it broadens our perspective. Which means we have more, benefit potentials. Like when I studied hypnotherapy, I took the same coaching 4 times from 4 different people, and I'm so grateful that I did, because I got the same concept from different points of view. It's very powerful. So continuing with the principle of cause and effect, it says that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not yet recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Okay? And when we think of law, we often think of it very strict in earthly terms. But it's just, for example, there's a law that the sun comes up and then the moon comes up, and that the seasons change, and we grow, we're born, we grow older, we die. These are laws. All right? Ways of operation. And even with things like chance, synchronicity, coincidence. When you take this coaching, you're going to completely step away from that. Because coincidence is just something that is not fully grasped or understood. But the more we can sort of almost like zoom out of our little individual sort of like experience. And this is why it's so great that I teamed this up with this amazing ThetaHealing guided meditations. Because the broader you open yourself to the concept of all, the more you realize how your sense of individuality is so much broader. To give you an example, when we think of an atom, as human beings, we consist of trillions of atoms that have all got their own consciousness. They've got a sort of like a life source in the middle, and they've got these little round bits that are orbiting around them in a very predictable pattern. When you broaden that, it looks exactly like our universe with its own consciousness, which begs the question, what if we are, all our consciousness, all our universe is just an atom with consciousness in a larger body of life? What are we really part of that? You know what I mean? What is the creator really? I want to read you this. It says, this is now the principle of cause and effect. This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, and an effect for every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, that there is no such a thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. Because the Hermetists understand that the art and methods of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to a higher plane, they become causes instead of effects. So this is about really learning how to not only create your perfect experience of life, but also how to maintain it. Okay? To help you play the game of life instead of being played by it and by moved. You know, here's the thing. If you don't rule your life is being ruled for you. It just is what it is. It's always been that way. Because there's always been people who understood these principles. And just because people understand the principles doesn't always mean that they use it for the good and the benefit of all. Okay? And then finally, the principle of gender. Gender's in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. All planes except, obviously, within the all, who is, or what is, or the concept is, or the idea is. No, you can't really confine the all above gender. But again, when you look at gender, you know, and I'm not here just talking about male and woman and straight and gay and all those sort of things. I am talking about pieces fitting in like a puzzle piece together. You know, sort of what we call negative and positive. And also go into the idea that, you know, yes, we call things negative, but those are just terminologies. You know, that you have a zero, okay, that's how it is. You add a plus, okay, now it's something different, a different sort of impact. It says that this principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything, the masculine and feminine principles ever at work. This is true not only of the physical plane, but of the mental and even the spiritual planes. Of the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex, S-E-X, so gender, technically, you know. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle because it goes with cause and effect, it goes with rhythm, it goes with polarity, vibration, corresponds, and the principle of mentalism. Because in order to think one thing, you need to also be able to think the other thing. You know what I'm saying? In order to correspond something, there has to be at least two different points of view. In order for vibration to take place, there has to be different possibilities in vibration. Otherwise, there is no vibration. You know, then you with the all, it just is. Principle of polarity. There has to be opposite sides, the hot and cold that we spoke about. Principle of rhythm. How can there be one rhythm if there's not another rhythm? You know, the different possibilities. Principle of cause and effect. This must be possible, and if this is the cause, then that can be the effect, and vice versa. You know what I mean? All comes down to the principle of gender. Okay? I just want to read this for you quickly. If you would understand the philosophy of mental and spiritual creation, generation, and regeneration, you must understand and study this Hermetic principle. It contains the solution of many mysteries of life. We caution you that this principle has no reference to the many base, pernicious, and degrading, lustful theories, teachings, and practices which are taught under fanciful titles. and which are a prostitution of the great natural principle of gender. Such base revivals of the ancient infamous forms of phallicism tend to ruin mind, body, and soul, and the Hermetic philosophy has ever sounded a warning note against these degraded teachings, which tend towards lust, licentiousness, and perversion of nature's principles. If you seek such teaching, you must go somewhere else for them. Hermeticism contains nothing for you along these lines. To the pure, all things are pure. To the base, all things are base. So, and then we'll start with mental transmutation. So you have to really ask yourself, is this coaching for me? Can I take this on with a purity of mind? And if I don't yet have the purity of mind, am I open to gain a deeper understanding of what that actually means to be to my benefit and to other people's benefit? Okay? Only you can answer that for yourself. But if you have been looking for a teaching that is pure of heart and pure of nature, and pure of being, of essence, really, that is serious. It is so serious, but it brings such a lightness, such a peace, such a calm, such a simplicity about it. If you feel that you're ready for that, then this coaching is for you. If not, then maybe you want to search your soul, do some introspection, and speak to the Creator and say to the Creator, is this something that I can be open to? Okay. So that's what I have. I am very excited about connecting with you on coaching because these principles are just so beautifully life-changing. Like, it's a kind of thing that you can't describe in words. You have to experience it for yourself to get it. So if it resonates with you, I look forward to connecting with you on the coaching. I'm Adrian Nelson. I'm a spiritual wellness coach. And I am very passionate about supporting you living your highest and greatest truth. From my heart, namaste, love and light.